Hey everybody! Today I'm going to be reading Canto 26 of Dante's Inferno, translated by Anthony Esolen, and I'm going to start with a really quick little introduction summary kind of thing. Alright, are you ready? Let's get started. After the invective against the corruption of Florence, Dante resumes his account. The poets proceed to the 8th ditch of Maelbog, where the evil counselors are wholly swathed in flames and speak through the tongues of fire at the top. Dante asks Virgil to call upon one twin-tongued flame, where the dwell of the sounds Ulysses and Diomedes. Ulysses recounts how he and his men died on their voyage in the southern hemisphere, far beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Florence, rejoice, your fame so great to tell. You beat your wings over the land and seas, and spread your name throughout the deeps of hell. Among the thieves I found 5 citizens, 5 of your finest, that bring me shame. Nor do you climb in the greater reverence, but if your dreams before the dawn come true, shortly you'll feel what Prato, not to mention the other towns, longs to you have fall on you. This would be fine had it already come. Let it then, since it must. The more I age, the more your punishment will sadden me. We took our leave up the projecting rocks that left us pale as ivory going down. My guide climbed up and pulled me after him, and following the solitary way among the shards and boulders of the ridge, we couldn't move the foot without a hand. Then did I grieve, and now I grieve again, when I direct my hand to what I saw, and hold my genius under tighter rein. Also, my guide, or the guide, is Virgil, the famous poet. Okay. Let's see. Lust without virtue's guidance, it runs loose, that if my stars was Dante was born under the sign of Gemini, whose influence was thought to bestow eloquence and intellectual vigor. That influence is not consistent with divine grace. There's a couple others. These are some footnotes. Lust without virtue's guidance, it runs loose, that if my stars or grace has given me good, I won't be begrudging myself in its abuse. But at the peasant resting of hill in the warm time of year, when he who sheds light on the world hides less than usual, when the mosquito follows the fly, when the fly sees the crowds of fireflies in the twilight dell, down by the vineyard, or the fields he's tilled, with just so many flickering firelights shone, 8 pouch. And I was aware as soon as I could see the bottom of the pit. And the prophet was after his master Elijah was taken into the heavenly chariot of fire. 2 Kings chapter 2 verses 9 to 12. As the prophet who avenged himself with the murderous bearers beheld the chariot of Elijah, horses galloping steep into heaven, he couldn't follow its parting with his eyes, but he saw no more than could one burst of fire, like a small cloud ascending higher and higher, so every flame moves through like this trench's throat. Not one like flickering white reveals the theft, for each one stows away the sinner's soul. I stood erect upon the bridge to look, and would have fallen headlong with no push, had I not kept a handhold on the rock. Seeing me so intent to learn, my guide explained, In every flame there dwells a soul. The fires that light them swaddle them inside. My teacher, I respond, what do you say makes me more certain that I thought already that is so, and wished to ask you this. I'm sorry, guys. That is like some really rough literature. Okay, we only got like 1, 2. We got like 3 pages left, so we got this. What spirit dwells within the double fire, divided at the top if it rose, from Polynesius and his brothers prior, from Polynesius and his brothers prior, these are the sons of Oedipus, Polynesius, and Etelicus, who fought the ruler Thebes after their father died. They slew each other in battle. The flames above their common prior parted, evincing the brothers' lasting hatred of each other. See Stadius I'm sorry, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But yeah. Pyre, think of it as like a funeral pyre. And he replied, the flame tortures Ulysses and Diomedes, as the two meet God's vengeance as they sinned and met his wrath. For the Beomen, I do not know what that means. If anybody knows, let me know. It's Bemoan. Their ambush in that flame, the wooden horse in Troy, which was the gate through which the noble seed of Rome first came. There they weep with artful trick, which brought the sorrows of Demedia, even in death. Demedia, the girl who loved Achilles, Ulysses and Diomedes exploited a trick to have Achilles jilt her and join them in the Trojan War. Even in death, and bear the punishment for Pallas's shrine. Pallas's shrine is the Palladium tutorally image of the goddess Pallas Athena. It was stolen from Troy by Ulysses and Diomedes. If they can speak from there inside those flares, said I, teacher, I pray with all my heart, and pray again that 1,000 prayers that you will not decline to let me stay until twin-horned face comes near. You see. What great desire has made me bend their way? And he said to me, Your prayer is worthy of the highest praise, and therefore I agree. But you must hold your own tongue and restraint. I understand your wish, so let me speak. For they might take your language in disdain and shy away from us, since they were Greek. And when the flame at last had come our way, it seemed to my guide that this time and place, in such a form as this, I heard him say, O you who are two souls within one fire, if ever I earned your favor while I lived, if I ever earned your favor, great or small. Next page. When in the world I wrote my lofty verse, do not depart, but tell us, one of you, where you were lost and where you went to die. The greater horn upon the ancient flame began to quiver into murmuring, just like the torchlight wearied by the wind, and then, leading the flame tip here and there, as if that were the very tongue that spoke, it flung a voice without when it said, when I left Circe, who had lured me away from more than a year on her great island near Gaeta, before Aeneas gave that cape its name, neither the sweet affection for my son, nor piety due to my father, nor the love I owed Penelope to bring her joy, could drive me from the burning to go forth, to gain experience of the world and learn of every human vice and human worth. I sent myself upon the deep open sea, with only a boat and a small troop of men, my friends who never abandoned me. I saw the shores of the continent, up to Spain and Morocco and Sardinia, and all the other sides of the ocean babes. And I and my comrades were stiff-limbed and old when we arrived within the narrow mouth, where Hercules once set his warning signs, lest a man should dare to venture past the mark. On the right hand, I left Seville behind, and on the left, Ceuta, C-E-U-T-A, Ceuta, maybe? Then I spoke, O brothers, who have borne innumerable dangers to reach the setting of the sun, from these few hours remaining to our watch, from the time so short in which we lived and feel, do not refuse the experience of lands beyond the sun, the world where no one dwells. Okay, so Circe is the sorceress who had detained Ulysses on his journey home to Ithaca. And the narrow mouth means the Strait of Gibraltar, symbol of the bounds beyond which human reason and achievement, unaided by grace, cannot go. Okay. Next page. Okay, one more page. From time so short in which to live and feel, do not refuse experience of the lands beyond the sun, the world where no one dwells. Think well upon your nation and your seed, for you were never made to live like brutes, but to pursue the good in mind and deed. I made comrades' appetites so keen to take the journey by this little speech that I hardly could have them after that. Turning our aft to the morning sun, we made our wings of our oars for the mad flight, gradually gaining to the left so far that nightfall now revealed the southern pole and all its stars, while ours were sunk low. They never rose above the ocean's rim, 5 times the light of the moon underside. That was kindled for the earth and 5 times quenched. Since we set out upon the Arotus pass, when far off there appeared a mountain shore, hazy and dark, which seemed to loom so high. No man had seen so high a peak before. We cheered, but soon that cheering turned to woe. For then a whirlwind, born from the strange land, battered our little vessel on the prow, 3 times the boat and all the sea world, and on the 4th, to please another's will. At the aft tipped in the air, the prow went down until the ocean closed above our bones. Okay. A mountain shore, that of a mountain of purgatory, whose approach is here shown to be forbidden to any living man. And the word another is God, yet another description of the shipwreck itself. Dante is indebted to Virgil. Okay, so one really quick thing that you guys should all know about Dante's Inferno. So when Dante is traveling through hell, they never mention the name God or God's name or the word, because it is a place of like suffering and horribleness, and it's just like a horrible place with death and demons and sinners and people of lust and fraud and so forth. So it's interesting here that they always use some sort of metaphor. And when Dante talks about God, Dante will use, again, a metaphor. He'll say something of like light or another. He has to describe God because they cannot use that word in the underworld because, well, it's the underworld. So I don't know. I found that kind of interesting. So keep that in mind when you're reading. But yeah, we just finished Canto 26, and it is definitely a bit of a confusing book, but I believe in you guys, and you can get the hang of it. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm sorry that I don't have all the chapters in the, I'm sorry I don't have like all the chapters, but like for the reading, but I hope it is helpful. And I mean, yeah, it's just, I was looking personally, on my own time, I was looking for an audio to Dante's Inferno because I needed my own reading help for my reading this book because it's a very difficult book, but I did not find any in the translation of Anthony Esolen, and at least on YouTube. So I decided I'd make one to help you guys all out. But anyways, thank you. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.